We had a massive return on the show tonight, and all of a sudden, the men's NXT Championship division looks very, very entertaining. This is your NXT review. What's up, Maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, a wrestling enthusiast, a WrestleManiac, if you will. And today we are discussing NXT. Like I said in the intro, massive return. I'm sure you've read the title and you know who it is, who we're talking about. And you can tell there's going to now be another shift in the men's title picture, and we're going to get into that as soon as we start this review, so stay tuned. Right here at WrestleManiac UK, I discuss everything that is WWE and AEW, so if this sounds like the place for you, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. And if you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube, please remember to smash the like button. It does loads for the channel and I thoroughly appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into the review. And the show started with Mr. NXT champion himself, middle of the ring, Finn Balor. He was back on NXT. They showed the promo of where he was telling everyone, last week at War Games, enjoy War Games and everything, that Balor's back on NXT this week. And here he was. And, he was basically saying all the usual stuff. I'm the champion, blah, blah, blah. My mice came out to play when the cat was away, all of that kind of stuff. He was interrupted by Pete Dunne. And I speculated about this a couple weeks back, that how awesome would it be to have Pete Dunne come and challenge Finn Balor for this NXT championship, like a Battle of Britain almost sort of thing for this championship. It's awesome. I'd love to see Pete Dunne, especially within this little faction he's with now with Pat McAfee and that carrying the NXT championship. There was a bit of back and forth between them saying, we're cut from the same cloth, but we're very different. And that, Pete Dunne wants to challenge him basically, in not so many words. Kyle O'Reilly came out. Kyle O'Reilly, obviously, the last person to challenge Finn Balor for this championship, said, I broke that jaw. I should have another chance. Pete Dunne was kind of stating his case as to why it shouldn't be Kyle O'Reilly, etc., etc. Damian Priest came out as well, and Damian Priest threw his hat into the ring, almost saying that, he should have a go at the champion. There was a bit of a comedic element between Kyle O'Reilly, Pete Dunne, and Damian Priest saying to each other, aren't you the guy that lost last time? Aren't you the guy that is paid by Pat McAfee to keep quiet? And that was Kyle O'Reilly to Pete Dunne. Aren't you the guy that just lost to Leon Ruff? Like, I think the element of these are possible challengers for Finn Balor got lost because the segment kind of divulged into a bit of comedy. And while they were going at each other, these guys, Finn Balor just kind of slid out the ring and was leaving the arena. Damian Priest turned around and said, look, Mr. Balor, where are you off to? Finn Balor basically said, look, come New Year's Evil, which is going to be this kind of TV special by NXT, 6th of January, I believe. Finn Balor said, I will defend this championship at New Year's Evil. Against who? It's not my problem. That's what they pay William Regal to do. That's his problem. So Finn Balor's laid out the gauntlet. I will take on anybody come 6th of January. It's up to whoever becomes the number one contender by then. So just as he's walking away, we hear Karrion Kross's music. However, it's not Karrion Kross that comes out. It is his missus. It is Scarlett Bordeaux. And she comes out, circles Finn Balor. Finn Balor says, look, I know what you're here for. TikTok and all of that. When Karrion Kross is ready, I'm ready. Finn leaves it there and walks to the back. As it looked like Scarlett's about to leave, Damian Priest takes to the mic and he's like, why are you always sent out to talk for your boy, Karrion Kross? Tell him to be a man and to come to the ring and everything. And I thought, this is a bit mad because Karrion Kross and Damian Priest have never crossed paths. So why is Damian Priest calling him out like that sort of thing? Like being a bit of a bully, mate, just picking on him and that. He's just come back from injury, layoff. And I thought the way the camera was staged at the time, I thought, Karrion Kross just going to come from behind and take out Damian Priest. But it didn't quite happen that way. Not yet anyway. So that was the opening segment. Like I said, those are all credible guys that could challenge Finn Balor. I mean, I think we are probably going to circle back around to Karrion Kross Balor. But I think it did kind of lose its essence with the comedy within the challenge that they were kind of laying out for each other. Next up on the show, we had a match between Isaiah Swerve Scott and Jake Atlas. We haven't seen Swerve Scott on the show for a couple of weeks, and obviously Jake Atlas has this kind of new renewed aggression in his he's now made it part of his approach. Swerve Scott, to be honest, came with a bit of aggression as well himself. This match didn't last long at all, and Jake Atlas won with a roll-up, like a pin out of nowhere that Swerve Scott didn't see coming. So Jake Atlas continues this wheel of wins that he's beginning to pick up some momentum. He's a pretty decent competitor regardless. Swerve Scott was selling the fact he was stunned in the middle of the ring. Jake Atlas asked for him to shake his hand, stuck out his hand to him after the match, but Swerve Scott ignored him, didn't shake his hand and walked off. So could be interesting with where they go with Swerve Scott's character from there. But yeah, we are definitely seeing some intensity added to the cruiserweight division as maybe contenders possibly build up to face Escobar, maybe at the New Year's Evil show also. So that was a pretty decent match, despite it not being very, very long. Next up on the show, we had the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Imperium versus Everrise. Obviously, Imperium and Grizzled Young Veterans were having a match last week, which should have been between Grizzled Young Veterans and Everrise, until Imperium came in and took out Everrise, and now all three tag teams are in a triple threat tag match situation. I got it right in the end. I thought I was going to mess up, but yeah, that is what was happening. And this was a pretty good match. This was a really good, entertaining match. Grizzled Young Veterans are clearly being built up here. I guess Imperium are the ones a bit on the back burner because they've done the whole tag team champions thing. So, yeah, they weren't involved in the finish here. In the end, we did see the Grizzled Young Veterans pick up the win with a ticket to Mayhem on Parker from Everrise. That put him away, and Grizzled Young Veterans are now 2-2 since their return to NXT. 2 wins from 2 matches. Yeah, like I say, I think they're on a collision course to face Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch for the tag team championship, and that is going to be such a hard hitting match. It's going to be pretty incredible whenever we do get that match. So yeah, can't wait to see it. I guess they probably still got some work to do before they get to those guys, but yeah, it is going to be fun once we get there. Next up, we had like a bit of a War Games retrospective from all War Games competitors. We learned within this segment that Dakota Kai is probably going to be out for a bit. She seems to have picked up an injury. Can't quite remember what it was. Obviously, we kind of knew coming out of War Games, Candice LeRae had broken her forearm, and she was wearing a cast, which we saw later on the show. So yeah, everyone kind of selling how brutal War Games was in the end. Afterwards, we got a backstage interview from Toni Storm. And in the middle of the backstage interview, she was disrupted by Io Shirai that came into the picture and says, you know, I have nothing against you, Toni Storm, but I just don't like you. And Io Shirai, being the aggressor in the situation, laid an attack on Toni Storm. And those guys brawled all around the back until they came out to the ringside area. It looked like Toni Storm was kind of in the ascendancy at that point, with attacking Io Shirai. But in the end, Ember Moon came into effect here. And Ember Moon took out Toni Shirai. Io Shirai hit Toni Storm with a moonsault, and yeah, got the upper hand. It wasn't a match or anything, but yeah, he just got the upper hand. It came out standing tall. I think whenever we do get Toni Storm versus Io Shirai, that should be a very, very good match because the competitors involved are just crazy. But yeah, that again might be something we see at this TV special, New Year's Evil. Next up on the show, we're going to have Tommaso Ciampa versus Cameron Grimes. Before we get into that, guys, if you are enjoying the review, please remember to smash the like button and give us a thumbs up. It's thoroughly appreciated right here at WrestleManiac UK, and it does loads for the channel. So please smash the like button, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. It's all the same. Show the love. Thank you very much. Tommaso Ciampa versus Cameron Grimes. We had Timothy Thatcher now take the seat near ringside and was watching on in the match. And that was kind of the story being told. You know, he was kind of doing everything that Ciampa done to him. Intimidating, some might say. Who knows? But Thatcher was playing this role this time. And Grimes and Tommaso Ciampa had a pretty decent match. Obviously, it didn't really have much build. We saw the Ciampa promo backstage beforehand saying, you know, this is part of him addressing all of these new guys in NXT that are entitled, blah, blah, blah. We've heard this spiel before. So yeah, they had off the back of that, they had this match, which was pretty decent, but no real build to this match. Halfway through the match, or towards the end, should I say, Tyler Rust, which I believe is one of Timothy Thatcher's guys that he trains and stuff like that. One of his students came in, tried to lay an attack on Ciampa, but Ciampa saw him and got evaded the attack. Sorry. And in the end, we saw Ciampa kind of leave the ring, play a bit of cat and mouse. He left the ring, got back into the ring, whilst Grimes was chasing him. Grimes got nailed getting back into the ring with a Willow's bell and got pinned. Ciampa addressed Thatcher after the match saying, you know, were you part of this attack that your guy tried to lay? Thatcher said, oh, it had nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with it. I was just here watching the match. And then Grimes afterwards came up running it up to Thatcher saying, you know, you distracted me and all this kind of stuff. What were you doing out here? And Thatcher just laid him out with one of his kind of submission hold kind of moves, grabbing his ankle, which was pretty interesting. And obviously, being the comedy kind of character he is, Cameron Grimes sold that very well. I am probably looking forward to a possible tag team between Ciampa and Thatcher. I think that could be quite interesting, maybe especially getting towards the new year when we usually have the Dusty Tag Team Classic. I think Ciampa and Thatcher could be an interesting pairing, and they clearly showed some sign of respect to each other after their War Games match on the weekend. So I think they could be interesting to be paired together. What do you guys think of a Thatcher and Ciampa pairing? Let me know down below in the comments. Next up, I will be been joined by D12. What's up, D12? Hope you're well. He said, gotta say, it's hard for me to watch NXT nowadays. I get where you're coming from, bro. It's not what it once was, and especially now we have something directly to compare it to that happens at the same time on the same night. You know, it is still a very good wrestling show, but you know, like I've been saying in recent times, it lacks a bit of entertainment. The entertainment value is what is lacking, in my opinion. So yeah. Another thing I thought, guys, wouldn't it be cool if obviously Thatcher, you know, he has this kind of wrestling school inside NXT where we see new performance center guys getting kind of, you know, inducted, and we see all their pictures, their press pictures all over the internet. Wouldn't it be cool if Thatcher like approached those guys from there saying, you know, why don't you join Thatcher's school? Thatch can and all of that kind of stuff. I think that would be a good place to kind of get Thatcher, you know, recruiting people. I know I don't want it to kind of go into comedy, but recruiting people as they come into the actual performance center. I think that would be a pretty decent idea and give him something, you know, give more legs to this his school, his wrestling school ultimately. Next up, we had a segment, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae coming out with Austin Theory and Indy Hartwell celebrating the fact that, you know, Candice LeRae won her War Games match, led her team to a War Games victory. The fact that Johnny Gargano is the 3-time North American champion. And, you know, I don't want to go through repeating word for word what they said here. It was a bit of a funny segment and everything. They gave Candice LeRae a trophy that had a symbolic kind of doll's head with green hair on it, like Shotzi Blackheart at the top of the trophy. It was just these guys goofing around completely, you know. That was the essence of this segment. And Damian Priest basically came out and he looked like he wanted to shut up Johnny Gargano. Obviously, he would have made jokes at Damian Priest's expense, being one of the people that was involved in that match. And this is where we got the attack of Karrion Kross coming out, laying out very viciously Damian Priest. Karrion Kross is back in NXT, making his stamp. You know, is good to see him. Like I was saying, I can't remember who I was saying it to a couple of days ago, but I like his packaging. I just love everything they've done with him aesthetically. Not so keen on his wrestling. That's still to, I guess, be proven at the highest level. But with how he is packaged, he's going to be a star on the main roster when that happens. He is healed from his injury. He laid a vicious attack on Damian Priest and left in the car with the girl Scarlett Bordeaux. That's going to be very interesting going forward. Karrion Kross is back in NXT. Next up, we had Pete Dunne versus Killian Dane. This came from a promo that was happening backstage where Pete Dunne was saying, you know, he's got to make things happen for himself. He can't wait around for opportunities. And Killian Dane, this is the first time we've seen him since he was taken out by Pat McAfee's guys weeks ago. So yeah, those two got to into a scuffle backstage, and then into the ring we had this match, Pete Dunne versus Killian Dane, and this is the best I've seen Killian Dane in a very long time. This was a very, very good match. Ultimately, we had Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan coming to the ringside to try and give Pete Dunne the advantage. We also had Drake Maverick at ringside, which in a funny segment thought he had chased away Oney Lurch and Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan, sorry. But they came back and attacked him, sort of thing, which distracted Damian Priest. He got back into the ring. Before you knew it, bitter end, he had been pinned. So Pete Dunne wins that match. But like I said, it was a really, really good showing from Killian Dane. Right, we're getting towards the end of the show, and the last match that we had on the card was Raquel Gonzalez and Ember Moon. Raquel Gonzalez has obviously had a fantastic weekend, especially at War Games. She got the winning pin over not just anyone, the women's champion. So she's definitely got a claim to the number one contendership spot for the women's championship coming in really soon. She had this match here with Ember Moon, and this was a really good match. Again, just showed how well Raquel Gonzalez is coming across. You know, like, I don't mean to be rude here, but she's overtaken the likes of the people like Aaliyah that have been in the performance center for such a long time. You know, Raquel Gonzalez just gets it, and she has it. I remember laughing earlier in the week with her character when, you know, she used to be like this cowgirl from Texas or whatever she was, and now she's just this complete badass. Like, she is so good to watch. And Ember done a lot here in terms of putting her over, selling for her as well. Like, it was really good. One of my favorite parts of the match was when Ember Moon went up for the Eclipse, but she was caught in the air by Raquel Gonzalez and taken down with a lariat. One concern I have is that, well, let me get to the end of this match. Raquel Gonzalez got the win in this match, which I guess you could only expect her to with the week she's had. Like I said, great momentum. I'm concerned that Ember Moon has come back to NXT and isn't really doing anything. Now, at any point, she can be put into the women's championship picture because she is a very credible contender. But it looks like right now she just has the role of putting over other talents that they're trying to get over, which I guess is fine to some degree. But I just can't imagine that's what she came back to NXT for, if you see what I mean. But let me know down below in the comments what you think of Ember Moon's return to NXT, and let me know as well what you think of Raquel Gonzalez's ascent in NXT. We had, as Raquel Gonzalez was celebrating, Rhea Ripley come out staring down Raquel Gonzalez, and I just love, you guys know already how much I love seeing these two together. Like, just put them in the ring. We need a big matchup between these two. I don't know, a Falls Count Anywhere match, a non-disqualification match. Give us something, because these guys are absolutely brilliant. Just let them rip each other apart. I'm here to see that. I'm sure you guys are too. So yeah, that is a good way to end the show, teasing that match one more time. Raquel Gonzalez versus Rhea Ripley. Guys, that is our NXT review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed NXT. Like we said, it is difficult to watch NXT these days, especially while we know AEW is going on and AEW is the more entertaining show, but NXT is still good. Just take some last few comments before we get out of here. D12 says Cruz was an absolute beast. I guess I mean Kross, Karrion Kross. Yeah, he's amazing to have back. Just add some real legitimacy, and with Finn Balor looking like he's getting well and well, the NXT championship picture is looking very promising once again. Alex Harrison just landed. Good to have you in here, bro. Ember Moon is being protected. Somewhat, I guess. She has this very specific role on NXT, it looks like, and that's to put people over right now. But like I say, at any point, she can be thrusted into a match against the champion. So she's in an okay spot, I guess. But I just think since she's come back, she came back at the same time Tony Storm did, and Tony Storm's about here, and Ember Moon's somewhere down here. So that's just how I feel. But yeah, and you said that she should be on the main roster. Yeah, but we know how that didn't work out. But I guess we will see. Guys, we've come to the end of our show. Again, let me know down below in the comments all your thoughts on NXT this week. Hit the like button. Those of you watching on Facebook, those of you watching on YouTube, hit the like button. It's thoroughly appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, remember to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you get notified each and every time I drop a new video, and look out for some new content, some new programming on this channel. It comes in the shape of wrestling lists, it comes in the shape of debates. We've got some new stuff coming on. Check out all my playlists and you might see something that you like. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you soon.